and welcome to my channel. My name is Misha. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you. If you are coming from TikTok, hi guys, welcome to my YouTube. All right, you guys, so we're gonna do just like a really simple treats video. This is something that you can take to parties. It's gonna be real easy, like super easy peasy, okay? And it's mostly because I'm craving it. So I thought, if I wanna eat this, you probably wanna eat this. So I was scrolling on Instagram and I seen a photo of caramel Rice Krispie treats. They didn't have a recipe, and I know what you're thinking. For caramel Rice Krispie treats, why would you need a recipe? You're right, you don't. So I'm gonna wing this. Now I have sugar already going back here because I am making my own caramel sauce. If you've never made your own caramel sauce, it is so easy. It's just a little bit time consuming and you need to keep a close eye on it. I have Rice Krispies from Walmart. Yeah. This is the Great Value brand because the other ones are way too expensive. Also, I make my caramel sauce with oat milk because I stopped buying milk once they stopped testing it for listeria. It's just a personal choice. So my caramel sauce is vegetarian. I don't think it's vegan, and I don't think Rice Krispie treats are vegan, so we're gonna go with vegetarian. And before you guys come for me and say a lot of your stuff is vegetarian, I don't know how that happens because I'm not a vegetarian, but anyway, if you want to make your own caramel sauce that is not have dairy in it, oat milk works fabulous. And especially this extra creamy oat milk. The extra creamy works amazing. So we have the sugar going. All you're going to do is let that sugar cook down, and then we're going to stir it and we're going to add everything in really quickly. So let's get into that. Once we have our caramel sauce done, then we will get to melting down the marshmallows, the butter, and get these yummy crispy treats in there. And we will just get it going from there. So you're gonna put your sugar in a pan. This is 3/4 of a cup of sugar. You're going to wanna have vanilla. Like I said, I use extra creamy oat milk and butter. Because once this starts cooking down, you're going to wanna add in the butter, then the extra creamy milk. You're gonna stir constantly, then add in the vanilla, turn off the heat. Okay, because we want this to be a caramel syrup or like sauce and not like a thick caramel candy. So this all happens pretty fast. Right now it's the slow part. You're just gonna let this sugar melt, but as you can see, it's kind of melting on the bottom already. So we're gonna do this. Do not crank the pan up, okay? It is low and slow, medium heat only, because this will burn or turn into butterscotch very quickly. If you have never made your own caramel sauce, it really is easy. You just have to be patient. Okay, you see how that sugar's melted? We're gonna just give it a little stir. Now we want this to get to a nice caramelized color. So we're just gonna stir it all, and once it's all melted down, we're gonna throw in 2 knobs of butter, like 2 tablespoons of butter. But we want this to be fully melted first and a nice caramelly color. But you don't want it to get too brown, like I said, because it's a fine line between caramel and butterscotch. Also, this is extremely hot, so make sure that you do not get any on your skin. Just, you know, disclaimer. Okay, so we threw the butter in here. We're going to give it a stir, and then it will try to like congeal a little bit. That's okay. Just keep stirring it through, and make sure that you put the vanilla in last because you do not want to burn that vanilla taste. See, it's going to look like this. This is okay. Just keep stirring, okay? Just keep stirring. See, as you're stirring, it's mixing in together. That is okay, okay? Just keep stirring it down. We just want all of that sugar to be incorporated with this liquid. Now I am stirring this with the heat off just to make sure everything incorporates, and like I said, I do not want it to get too thick or be too butterscotchy. The sugar is melted almost completely down into it, and you can see it's coming together. I am just going to add the vanilla right now. Let's give a little bit of vanilla. And we're just going to keep stirring this heat off though, just to make sure that it doesn't get too thick or become a candy rather than more of like a caramel sauce. Okay, I think I may have made my caramel a little bit too saucy. Should have probably made it a little bit thicker, but oh well. We're going to roll with it. We're going to let this sit off because as it cools, it thickens too. And now we are going to get started on melting the marshmallows. So we're going to get this pan on. Once again, medium heat, nothing too hot. And we're going to get about another 2 tablespoons of butter in here. So we're going to melt this butter down, and then we will throw the marshmallows in here. And then we'll get the cereal. I think I'm going to just throw the caramel in the very last minute, and then we will put it into a parchment lined baking sheet. Or parchment, yeah, baking sheet, that's what it's called, right? This thing, I think it's called a baking sheet. Anyway, we're going to do a 9x9. So we're going to do half a bag of mini marshmallows because the minis to me melt faster. Okay, at the bottom of our parchment lined baking sheet, we are just going to add a little bit of powdered sugar. It just makes it so it's easier to cut and get out later. A little bit of powdered sugar on the bottom. Okay, now that our marshmallows all melted down, we are going to add in the cereal. This is the easy part. You guys already know how all of this works because, you know, Rice Krispie treats. So let's just get this open and just toss in the Rice Krispie treats. Or the Rice Krispie because we're making them treats. Okay, and then we're going to mix this together, and then I think we're going to just fold in the caramel, I'm guessing. Okay, now that this is all mixed in, let's start adding in that caramel. Why does it kind of look like fried rice? I don't know. Okay, so now that that's all mixed in, we're just going to add in, with the heat off, a couple more tiny marshmallows, so that way we're just going to sprinkle these in, give it a mix, and then let's move it to the parchment paper. Okay, we're just going to pour it in here. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit more powdered sugar on top, just so that it'll make this easier to cut out later. And then we're going to let this set. Here is what they look like now that they've set. I did make these a little thinner than I intended to, but that's okay. Why do they kind of look funnel cakey? Oh my god, I love funnel cakes. Alright, let's give it a taste. That caramel flavor. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Look, is this gonna blow people's minds? Probably not, but you can tell your friends that you made dairy-free caramel Rice Krispie treats. And the flavor, outstanding, phenomenal, delicious, so good. Thank you so much for watching me make just like a delicious snack. I just thought I'd share with you what I wanted to make. If you like this kind of video, make sure that you hit that like button, that subscribe button. I am working on my first pattern video, so that's going to take me a little while. I've got a few things in the works and a couple more snack videos that I want to make. I also bought more tofu because there's a couple more tofu recipes that I want to try. But I hope that you guys like it. I will talk to you guys in the next video.